Morning, friends. Happy Thursday. Deanna, good morning. So today a little different day today. I'm going to be making little stitch minders, or I should say hook minders. I get them mixed up. This is what they look like. Get my light a little better here. Aren't they cute? So I'm sure your first question is, April, what the heck is a hook minder? And what a hook minder is, for people like me who have a bazillion projects going on, it's really handy to have these little clippy markers, little lobster claws here. And what you do is when you're working on a project, so like this particular blanket, I'm using an I9 hook. I don't have one of those made yet. But what you do is you clip this little dude onto your project. And then when you come back to your project, it reminds you what hook you're using. So for me, I have like, I don't know, an insane amount of works in progress, like 20 or something crazy. Um, and so I keep losing track of what I was doing. And so my mission today, a little different. As I said, I'm not going to be crocheting. I'm going to be making these little hook minders. So put the crochet to the side. Um, Hook minders, you can actually buy right on like Etsy. I made a few last night just to kind of show you some differences. But here's my eye hook minder. It has a little teddy bear on it. Isn't he cute? So cute. Here's a little blue one. This one has a G. So there's lots of different possibilities that you can use to make your hook minders. So I put links on the link tree. I have just kind of a random assortment of beads. And you don't even have to use beads for yours. You could just use little letters. So here's a package of little letters you can see that I got. Now, obviously, I'm not going to use a lot of these because I don't use these size hooks. But I do like for them to have kind of a little embellishment. I think they look cute that way. One of the things I try not to do, I don't like these to be too heavy that they actually like pull on my crochet work. So my mission is to kind of keep them light. But you know, you can get beads. These are some I picked up at Wally World. They're plastic, very lightweight. Obviously, you could get fancier beads. These also came from Wally World. These are glass beads. They're a little more sparkly, but the possibilities are endless. You can also get, if we look in my little box here, my box of stuff, all different types of embellishment. Here's my little lobster claws that I like. I got these off of Amazon. I like these because they're nice and big. So they make it easy when I'm trying to clip things on there. Now, if you don't want the fancy metal, you could get the little alphabet beads. You know, kids use these to make like friendship bracelets and stuff. And you could use something as simple as this. You can buy on Amazon packages. Let's dump some of these out of just little like charms. Sometimes they use these for like charm bracelets. But if you just wanted to put your letter, here's a little skull. He's kind of cute. Just lots of different possibilities. Here's a little teddy bear. Butterfly. I love, love, love butterflies. So you can see there's a whole, I bought a whole package of these off Amazon. I think it was pretty reasonable. Here's a little Pegasus, or maybe it's a unicorn. It's got a little, I think it's a unicorn. Super, super cute. Here's a little tree. I like him. So those are possibilities as well. What else do I have in my magic box here? So we'll talk about, these are what you call your head pins. And there's different styles of head pins. I'll talk about those in just a minute. These are pretty cute. These are little charms I also got off Amazon, but they're little flowers. Aren't those sweet? Really cute. I like those a lot. Here's some more letters that I have. Here's some other types of letters. These are called resin letters. They're filled with the little colors. Those might look kind of cute with those flowers. More letters. These are what you call split rings. And we're going to talk about the split rings and how to use those. What else do I have in here? I thought I had something else. Oh, here are more of the little round. So again, you can get these ones if you like the little medallion style letters. Those you can get on Amazon as well. Here's some more letters. Anyhow, I have kind of an assortment of stuff. So again, I'm going to keep these very lightweight and kind of simple, just because I don't want them to weigh down my work. Now, one thing I'm going to need my little lobster clasp here. Now, some other lobster clasps that I have, I got these at Walmart, and these ones are really big. So if you have kind of arthritis in your hands, you need something a little bigger. I got these ginormous ones, a 4-pack at Walmart. I put links for those on the link tree, but those are handy as well for those of us that have a hard time actually doing the little clips. Okay, so that is what I'm planning on doing today. So the first thing we have to do is we have to get out one of our little lobster clasps. I don't know why they double bagged these, but they're in 2 different bags. And I usually do jewelry type stuff right in my lap. I know some people would rather do it like on a table. That's totally fine too. But I just use like this little box, right? This was just a trash from some beads. And I'm going to put my ingredients that I'm going to do right into this box, okay? So first thing I have to decide is what type of letters I want to do. I kind of like these ones right here. Aren't these pretty? Let's do some of these. Okay, I'm going to dump these out. You have to get some of the letters that I know I need. Okay, and then the other thing we have to talk about is our jewelry tools. Now, this is a very cheap set that I got off Walmart. And there are different types of pliers when it comes to making jewelry. This is one of my favorite tools. These are round nose pliers. And so you can see they're round on the end. Normally your pliers are flat. You use this style of plier when you're making loops into your rings, like your head pins. And then, of course, we've got the trusty old flat pliers. You can see those are a little different. So when you buy jewelry pliers versus like if you were just going to go out and raid your husband's toolbox kind of thing, right? Jewelry tools are smooth on the inside here. Now, there's different grades of jewelry tools. These are the down and dirty cheapies, I will tell you. And for my purpose here, they're totally fine. If you get more into jewelry making, sometimes they'll come and these will be coated with kind of a plastic in here because you don't want to damage the items that you're working with. So we got to have our tools, got those. And we've got our lobster class. Now, the very first thing that I need to do, this is called a jump ring. And you use jump rings to connect your pieces together. And these came a little kit, a variety of sizes. I kind of like the size 8 size. So we'll get out one of these little dudes. Now, some of this might be a little hard to see on the live, but this is our little jump ring. And I grab onto it with my tools. Sometimes you'll another style is called a split ring. The split rings are different. They have more enforced metal around them. But your jump rings come and they actually are split right here in the middle. And the way that you have to open these jump rings is I hold it with one side my pliers and I just kind of give it a twist and I pull it open like that. So the other way people will do their jump rings that are inexperienced, they will take their jump rings and they'll pull them apart like this. You do not want to do that. Okay. It makes it kind of so they get out of shape and wonky. And so if you decide to make some stitch markers, definitely don't pull them open like that. We're going to put that in the trash and get another one. Okay, so let's get another little guy out. That one in my mind is messed up now. Okay, so again, you find the little split. It's a little hard to see on screen, but we're going to, I push with this thumb and I pull back and I open it so that it stays nice and straight like that. Then what you do is you're going to add your components right onto this split ring. So I'm going to add my little lobster clasp. Okay, then I need to find a letter. So here's an H. I use a lot of H hooks, okay? So again, these little H's or the little letters, they came with a little ring on top. So then I slide this dude on here. And then what you can decide, you could do it as simple as this, right? Where you just have something as lightweight, as simple. This gets the job done. But I like to make them kind of a little fancier, a little easier to see on my work. So then what you do is you get your head pins. Now, these are called eye pins, and head pins are a little different, okay? So we'll get into this little kit here, and I'll show you the differences in your types of head pins. This will kind of get it. So these little head pins, if I can get one of these little guys out, they come with a little end here. See how it's kind of flat and round? I don't know if you can see that very well. But what that does is when you put your bead onto this little pin, it will hold it from sliding off. Now, obviously, if you have really big holes in your beads, they will slide right off, right? So if I put this on here, see how it slides right off? That end on this is too small for my hole on my bead. Okay, so that is one style of head. This is called a head pin. Another style comes, and I really like these ones right here. These ones have a little ball on the end, and they're kind of a little more decorative, but this is considered a head pin as well. And this will help to keep your bead on. So if we want a little blue bead, see how it holds that? And then you can stack up your beads, whatever colors you want, whatever pattern you want. Let's obviously you're confined to the size of your head pin, but here's a little blue bead stacked up. Okay. So now your question is, well, April, this is straight. How the heck are you going to get that onto your little ring? There's nothing to attach it. That is where your round nose pliers come into play. And what I do is I grab it here at the very end, in between my pliers, and I keep this straight. And you roll your wrist forward. And what you do is you make a little loop on the end of your bead, your head pin. Now, do you see how this leans off to the side? What I like to do is I like to put my pliers back in there and I kind of give it a twist the other way and straighten that back out. And I then make sure my little ring is closed. Okay, so you want that kind of tight and make sure that it's straight. Okay, then what you would do, obviously, I close this little ring, I can open it back up and slide your little embellishment onto the ring and then close back up your jump ring. So now I have a little bit of an embellishment with the letter on it, and my little hook minder is complete. Isn't that pretty cute? I know it's hard to see on the live, but anyhow, there is a little hook minder that's done. So the other type of head pin you can have, this is called an eye pin. And you can see this one here, see how it has a loop at the bottom? So this is another style of pin that you could use. And the way that you use these, again, let's maybe find a different color here. How about some green? Let's see if this one will hold on there. So there's a little green. What else do I have in my box here? Let's go shopping. Oh, here's a pretty purple. We'll do purple. Again, there's no rhyme and reason. Whatever you're feeling. Okay, now you want to fill up your head pin. If you have too much here, you're going to have a lot of this metal that's left behind. What you can do is a lot of times in your jewelry toolkit, you can actually, it comes with these little nippers, snip, 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 and you can snip this off shorter if your head pin is too long. And then same thing, use your round nose to roll a little eyelet. It's kind of hard to see me doing this. There's my little ring. Now I got to straighten him back up a little bit. I don't like when they're curved the other direction. And kind of smash him down. Okay, so now you can see I've got a ring on both ends. Well, you may say, well, what's the point of having a ring on the bottom? Well, this is kind of cool also. What you can do is you could use a little tiny jump ring. Let's get one of these dudes out. And if I can, it's interesting, since the last time I did beading, my eyes have kind of changed a little bit. I have a hard time seeing anymore some of these, but we'll open this little guy up. And let's get a little, let's find a charm. Let's find a little charm. I love volleyball. That doesn't really speak to me. Here's one that says love. What is this one? Here's a little apple. Okay, fine. We'll go with an apple. So I put my little apple on my split ring. Then what you can do is on the bottom of this, where your ring was, you can add your little embellishment. This is still kind of open. I know it's probably hard to see, but I can take my flat pliers and kind of squish this closed. So that is why you would use an eye pin over a head pin if you want to do a little charm at the bottom. Okay, so again, here's my little lobster claw clasp. I need another jump ring. Let's go for the size 8 again. I really like that size. Grab one of these dudes out. I'm probably missing a lot of comments, y'all. I'll have to catch back up here. Open this up. Slide my little bead embellishment on. Slide my lobster claw on. And then we need a letter. Here's a G. I use a lot of size G hooks for my, yeah, that'll be good. Okay, close this back up. So the other thing you could do is you could put the G down here at the bottom. However your heart desires, you can whip these up, and now I have a G hook minder. Another one done. So many possibilities. Okay, let's say that you all are on a budget. And beads can be kind of expensive. I don't remember these glass beads. Does it say on here what they were? I think these glass beads were, I don't know, like maybe like $3 or $4, which is kind of pricey. So one thing you could do, if you wanted to do it more economical, these plastic beads were definitely a lot less expensive, and I got a whole jar of them, really pretty. I think I want to open this next. But you could get these at Walmart in the like kids beading section. And another good possibility is go to your um, local thrift store, um, St. Vincent's, Goodwill, whatever you've got in your area. A lot of bead type jewelry gets donated. Okay. And so, like Mama Wheeler is queen of the thrifting. I saw my mom is here this morning. Good morning, Mom, by the way. So Mama Wheeler will take other people's donated jewelry and she will take it apart. She'll use her little tools. She'll open up the rings and then she will repurpose those beads, which I think is a great, great plan to be able to do that. Now, I feel like these letters that we have here are kind of small. I feel like they're hard to see. So I'm going to put these away. Let's get out some bigger letters. My old eyes need something a little bigger than these little guys. Obviously, they're very cute and dainty, but we need some mumbo jumbos, I think. So here are some bigger letters that I've got. Let's work with these next. If I can get the bag open, the hardest thing I'm going to do today is get the bag open. Is it weird for me not to be crocheting, y'all? I really need, oh, there's a nice J. The J is really cute. Look at that. Here's my I. I use a lot of I-9 hooks. So I should do an I think. Let's do an I. Again, let's get some more of our lobster clasp out. We'll get a few of those dudes. And I want to open up some of these pink beads because I think there's a lot of really cute. Here's a little plastic star. That's kind of cute. Bow tie. Let's dump these out. I also have some of these pretty butterflies. Those are kind of cool too. These I think might be kind of heavy. And my concern with these little butterflies, I'm a huge butterfly fan. Y'all, it's one of my favorite things. I've got butterfly tattoos. I'm a big butterfly kind of gal. Okay, so one of the things I was worried about with these have little rhinestones. And I don't know how effective these are going to be as hook minders because I don't want these little rhinestones to catch on my yarn. So I guess the only way really is to like give it a try and see. But we could do one of these. So I'm going to go with the size 8 ring again. Let's get one of these out. Grab him up. Find the little split. This is where I have to like stretch my arms out to arm's length so I can see this stuff. I have my readers on. Open up your split ring. Now this butterfly, this is what it looks like on the back. It doesn't have any loops or anything, but because it had this open space right here, I thought, oh, I could just stick it on there like that. So here's my lobster clasp, and here is my letter I. Let's do something bigger. Let's do the G so it's a little more easy to see. Here's my little G. I use a lot of G hooks. A lot of my baby blankets have G's. So there is my little butterfly with the G. I mean, it works, right? It's just a little something to go onto my project to remind me what hook it is. As simple as that. I'm going to call that one done. Look how many we have so far. We're killing it this morning. Okay, so I wish I had another little box here. Let me put these into, let's repurpose this. We'll dump those in there. That's a random bead. We'll throw that in the box. Okay, here's our little letters. Let's relocate that. Here we go. Y'all, that is satisfying. Aren't they pretty? These are just cheap plastic beads, but like I said, it does not matter. So let's do our little head pin, okay? Now these are kind of a shorter head pin, but I didn't want anything like really, really big. It doesn't need to be big. Let's see if we can pop some of these little beads on here. See how it fell off? So that's not going to work. We need something at the end here. I wish I had gotten some beads that had some smaller holes in them. This might fall off too. Yeah, see, that one's going to pull off. I do have these that stay on. These are like little fake pearls. Let's try that. That'll work just fine. Here's a little pink action. What else do we have in here? Oh, I saw a heart. Where'd that little heart go? Oh, he's cute. The little heart is cute. Let's put white here at the top again. See how that looks. That looks all right, huh? Okay, so once again, let's make our little loop here at the top. Again, I'm using the round nose little pliers, making a tiny little loop. Close that up. If I can, I might have too many beads on here. I might have to take a bead off. Let's see if I can get it. Boy, my eyes are just not what they used to, folks. Yeah, I don't like that. That's not going to work. I got to take one bead off here. This head pin might be ruined. We'll see if I can get that off. There we go. Now I got to snip this off here at the end where I messed it up. Get rid of that. I'm going to have little bits and parts all over the living room here. I need another bead on this though. It's going to, it's not going to stay. Hang on, I got to get a new one here. Get a different head pin. Let's try to refeed these on here. Let's go for a different color of pink. How about a lighter color pink? I like that a little better. A little more contrasting. And let's do it like this. We need a little bigger one, I think. That's pretty good. Okay, here we go. Let's make our little ring. I swear I could spend the whole day sitting here doing this. Hopefully I get enough to be able to mark all my works in progress. Okay, so there's my little loop that I'm making. Make sure you get this nice and closed, okay? You don't want any little gaps there. That one's not perfectly round, but it's all right. Okay, get our lobster clasp. We need a little jump ring. This little box that these came in is very handy. Now, guys, if you need hook minders and you don't want to go through all the effort of buying the stuff and making and getting the tools and all this crap, you don't have to. There are people who sell these on Etsy, and you all know our good friend Karen here. I don't know if Karen is here this morning, but you can buy hook minders right from Karen on her Etsy shop. I put a link to her Etsy store in the link tree. We'll make this one an eye. Close up our little jump ring. There's our little eye stitch marker. Totally cute, right? You could add another little charm to this even if you wanted. Whatever your heart desires. What other hook sizes do I have in here that I need? I don't use a lot of these. That's one thing, like when you buy these letters, oh, I use J a lot. Pull that to the side. I use H a lot. That's why I had to buy so many sets of letters because, I mean, here's a Y. Nobody uses a Y, right? Or I don't anyway. K, I sometimes use a K. That's about as big as I go. What else do I have in here? I use, sometimes I use a D, but very, very rarely. And sometimes I use an E, again, very, very rarely. G, H, I, J, K. Those are the ones that I use the most. G, H, I think we already did the G. I pulled out the H. Okay. So let's get another jump ring here. And open this guy up. Remember, pull these apart like this. Slide on that. We'll make a K. Slide on our K. And then let's just do a little charm here. Here's a little tree. That's kind of cute, huh? We'll call that done. I should have put the K the other direction, but I guess it doesn't matter. You could flip this open. Let's put this on the other way. Flip that around. That way it's going the right direction, yeah? Cute, right? Easy. Done. I love it. Okay, jump ring. So yeah, these little charms are great to have. Oops. We'll do a couple more like this just to knock these out. My lobster clasp. Here's my little H. What other cool charms do we have here in my box? Tell me if y'all see something that jumps out at you. I don't know if I really want a spider. Oh, here's a pretty butterfly. I like him. Butterfly's kind of cute, right? Butterfly. I like it. Done. Okay. And I have one left, a J. Let's just do one more little simple guy like this. Then we'll do some other styles. All right. I made good progress on my blanket last night. Um, I worked on it. Mr. Wheeler went to bed. I stayed up crocheting a little bit. I'll show you guys all a little bit. Hey, Joan, good morning. Stephanie said I started the rosewood blanket yesterday. Awesome, awesome. The rosewood pattern is on my YouTube. You can go back and rewatch that. What else do I have in here that's kind of big? You could make these charms till your heart is content. You could also make these just as stitch markers too, y'all. Some people have fancy stitch markers. All right, there's a little Pegasus with my J. Okay, let's call those done of these letters. Let me put these letters back away. We're going to get out a different style of letter. Anyhow, if y'all need these, definitely hit up Karen if you aren't interested in making them yourselves. It is kind of a little bit of work, and it kind of is an investment to get the stuff. A lot of you know I used to have a jewelry business, and so I had a lot of this stuff already. So for me, it's not really a thing, but not everybody wants to spend the money for the tools and stuff. Okay, so these little letters are what you get like for kids' friendship bracelets. But I see a G right here, and we definitely need some G size hooks. I feel like I'm kind of limited with what beads I can use. Let's see if this one works. That's a bright shiny one. See, you want to test this as you're putting these on the headpins. It looks like it's gonna stay. You definitely want to give it a pull, because if it pulls through like that, that's no good. I should have bought some smaller. Uh, Coley said, Chloe, Coley. I'm not sure how to pronounce your name. I think it's Coley, but I could be wrong. I'm sorry if I mispronounced that. Said Karen, where are you at? I don't know if Karen's here this morning. Karen makes these. This is she does these for sale. That's like her business. So I'm here to support Karen, y'all, if you need these. So here it could be as simple as this, right? Put another little I don't think I have room for a pink one on there. That won't fit either. I need something small. I don't have anything small. We'll just go with this. You can buy these head pins in different lengths. I bought all small ones, but you can buy them up to like 3 inches long. Hey, Amanda, good morning. Well, guys, if you're looking for Karen on Etsy, her link is on the link tree. I put a link to all of the tools and stuff that I'm using today if you want to do this yourself. If you don't want to do this yourself, which I know a lot of you probably don't, You can just buy them right from Karen. Just go to her Etsy and message her, and she'll do custom as fancy as you want. So there's a little G. Again, I need my lobster clasp. And I need a jump ring. Grab this little guy out. My lap is full today of stuff. Let's get these on here. I had a little box of flowers. Where did those go? Let's put a little flower accent on this. That might be kind of nice. Here's some flowers. I like these little flowers. Oops, I got that on my nail. Here's a pretty little pink flower. Everything fell off my jump ring because I dropped it. Try this again. I like to hold my jump rings with my pliers as I'm loading this stuff on there. Okay. Add my little bead. Add my little flower. There we go. There's my little G stitch marker. Now these plastic beads, they're for like going around like bracelets and stuff. So they sit sideways, but for me, it doesn't matter. As long as I can attach this to my crochet and know that I'm using a size G hook, that's all that I care about. That is all I care about. Take the guesswork out of it. Let's use one of these little straight head pins. This one doesn't have the round thing on the bottom. Joan says, I bought the clasp that came with key rings. I slide the letters, clasp, and beads on the ring. That is perfect. So many different possibilities. Y'all are very creative. Did you see how that bead just slid right off there? These little head pins are not going to work with these beads that I have. And that's okay. Here's some longer head pins. Let's open these up because I think my other ones, are there longer ones? Oh, here are some longer ones in this pack. Let's dig deeper here. This is like a multi-pack. Look, these are what I need right here. Long. Oh, yeah. We hit the jackpot here. Let's put these away. These are no bueno. Let's use these. We'll add some charms to the bottom. See how these ones are longer? You can get more beads on them. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Should we do another pink one? I think this one helps to hold the beads on there better, too. See that little eyelet? Little bow. The bow is cute. How does the bow go? Oh, the bow goes sideways. Nah, I don't like that. I don't like that. Oh, here's a little smiley face. The smiley face is sideways too. What else do we have here in our little box of stuff? Oh, these little flowers are cute. Look at that. Oh, I like that. Oh, I love the flowers. Super, super cute. Oh, I need my letter. Here's another G. Should I put the G next to the flower? That looks kind of cute, right? That might be too much room there. I need a smaller one of these. Here, how about this one? This one will work. That's good. Okay, so let's do our little ring here. Use your round nose pliers. Make that little ring. See that, how I bent that? See how it sits to the side? So you got to put your pliers back in here and pull that back up straight. Otherwise, your marker will lean to the side. Okay, so there's that. And now these eye pins here, you can also open this up if you want to add a charm. You don't have to use a jump ring. What else do we have here? Little flower. We'll make this one kind of dangly. Dangly, dangly, dangly. Slide that on there. Close back up our jump ring. Now we need to add our clasp to this. This ring up here is so big, I could probably put my clasp right up. Let's see. How do you store each of your whips to keep them safe from your daily life and your puppies? So I actually got a coat rack. Stick with me here. This is kind of crazy. I got a coat rack and I bought clear little tote bags and my little baby blankets. There we go. That's kind of a long one, but whatever, whatever floats your boat. Um, I put my little works in progress in those tote bags. And there's a video of how I did it on my TikTok if you want to see it. I like that one. He's kind of cute. He's kind of big, but it still fits in my little container. So that works, right? Let's do another eye pin here. These work pretty good. Oh, this one's all bent up. You can kind of straighten these up with your pliers. If they get bent like that in the package, just kind of bend them. We're going to slide a bead on there, so it's probably not going to be too awfully obvious. Did y'all see that? My little stitch markers all slid. I had some purple beads back here somewhere. Where are my purple beads at? Here we go. Purple. I like the purple. I like the purple a lot. What else do I have in my little letter box? Here's another G. I think I have at least 10 projects that have G hooks on them right now. I know that seems like a lot, but they're all little baby blankets that are started and not finished. My goal kind of shifted this year. Instead of working on a lot of baby blankets, I'll come back to them and revisit them. But I started working more on wheelchair blankets. Hey Maggie, good morning. Y'all, if you're not following Maggie, she's a gal to follow here on TikTok. I'm telling you. She's magical. Magical, magical. Okay, there's our little... Do we want another little flower charm on this, or do we want something else? I wish y'all could see all of the charms in my box. They all kind of run together, huh? There's a cute little heart that popped out at me. Should I try him? I might have to open my jump ring a little more here because he's not sliding on. I might have to put a little ring on here instead of this. Let's see if I can get this open. And closed back up being the key thing here. Ooh. This is why you use jump rings, because sometimes these little rings are hard to close once you get your goodies on there. It's not cooperating with me. Let's see if I can get it. There we go. There we go. And we need our little lobster claw. What happened to Kelly? I missed it. Happy Easter, y'all. Do y'all have big plans for Easter? What happened to Kelly? I missed the comment. April's having too much fun. I know. I totally missed it. Why are we congratulating Kelly? Kelly, is it your birthday? Are you having an anniversary? What did I miss? Y'all, what did I miss? I was trying to focus on my closing of jump rings and nonsense, and I missed all the good stuff. I love Easter. Oh, an auntie. Oh, congratulations. I love being an aunt. I don't have any kids of my own, and so being an aunt, there we go. Look, a little heart at the bottom. Ain't it cute? These will dangle more if you use a jump ring, but I'm totally fine with this. So let's see which ones you want to see. I've made a mess of these this morning. Literally, they all fell. Here's a G. G with a flower, I with a teddy bear. What else do we have? G with a fancy butterfly. H with a butterfly. Can you tell I love butterflies? I'm making hook minders, Texas Whiskey. Here's a Pegasus with a J. Here's another J. It just has some pretty purple beads on it. A fancy long G with a little heart at the end. A K with the little tree. He's cute too. Here's a G. These little G's are hard to see, but I'll be able to see that with a little apple at the bottom. Little Johnny Appleseed. Here's another one. What is this? This one's an H. Anyhow, you clip these onto your project. So basically, when you're crochet, I have a lot of works in progress, right? You all know I do that. I have all these started projects. So what happens is I forget what hook I'm using, right? So if I'm using an I9 hook, I use my little lobster clasp and clip this onto my project. And then it tells me, April, you were using an I9 hook. And it's like, oh yeah, I was using an I9 hook. Here's a little G with the heart. We just made that one. I like it. Here's another G. I have a lot of G's because I use G hook a lot for my baby blankets. And I have a lot of baby blankets started. And here's an H. I use a lot of H8 hooks too. So anyhow, I'm just making up some stitch minders today. I know it's probably weird. I'm not crocheting, right? But this will make my life better, y'all. So I have to tell you, y'all want to hear some Easter stories since it's Easter this weekend. This Easter is Sunday, right? I think Easter's Sunday, unless I've lost all track of time again, which is highly possible. Um, so when we were kids, and even as I was a young adult, or I don't know, even into my 30s and whatnot, we would go to the lake. We spent a lot of time fishing at the lake. You've heard me talk about that a lot before. Well, a lot of times Easter would correspond with spring break when I lived in Arizona. So spring break for the kids. This blue's kind of pretty. It would be the same time of year. And so, anyhow, sometimes we would spend a whole week at the lake. And gotta find another. Oh, here's another G. Y'all know I got a lot of G's. Let's see. I might have to take one of these beads off. Let's take this one off. Put this one. And then put this one. Yeah, that looks kind of cool. And then I can think we could fit one of these dudes, a little tiny. So as kids, my mom and my dad, we would have our Easter egg hunt and Easter baskets at the lake. Anybody else do this? Or is this just a April family tradition? We always were at the lake. And one of the things that my family always did is before we could go hunt our Easter eggs, we would have to find our Easter basket. And my mom and dad, they were always the best hiders of the Easter baskets. They would be somewhere around camp or in the motorhome or in the tent, or who knows. You had to go on a hunt and find your basket because you were not allowed to collect any eggs until you had your basket to put them in. And I'll tell you what, I feel like they always gave my brother more of a challenge because he was definitely um, more adventurous than I was. I know that's hard to believe. But we would hunt down our Easter baskets, and then we would go hunting for our Easter eggs. And then we weren't always at the lake Easter morning. Sometimes we would be at home. We'd go to Sunday service and stuff. But same thing at home. When we had our Easter baskets and Easter egg hunt at home, we would have to find our Easter basket. Two of the best hiding spots my parents ever had. I remember my brother, he got so mad one morning because he could not find his Easter basket. And no festivities could begin until my brother had his Easter basket. I don't know if mom remembers this. And finally, he was like in tears. He was like, I don't know, 10 or something. We always did Easter baskets. Age made no difference. And so, anyhow, I don't know if they finally like pushed him in the right direction to find it, but what my dad had done, I come from a bit of a redneck engineering type family. So of course my dad had the trusty duct tape, and he hung my brother's Easter basket from the shower, and he had duct taped it so it wouldn't like slide down the handle, and then he pulled the curtain. And boy, my brother, he could not find that Easter basket for the life of him. And anyhow, he was in tears and upset. And finally, my parents were like, okay, we have to let him find his Easter basket because this is really crazy. So here's a little G stitch marker. Put a little black flower on there. These are hook minders today that I'm making, guys. I clip these onto my project. So if I am using a size G hook for a blanket or granny squares, whatever I'm using, and I go on to a different project, I will use my little lobster clasp, right? And I clip it to my blanket. So that way, when I come back and I'm thinking to myself, what size hook did I use for this? What was I doing? This tells me I was using a size G. So that is what I am making today is little hook minders. I know it's kind of a random day, but it needs to get done. I really need these in my life. So this is all the ones that we've made so far. I have a lot of blankets that have a size G hook, and I just have different ingredients here I'm making up with it. Okay, the other time that my brother got really, really upset. Oh, I saw somebody put theirs in the dryer. Yes, dryer was always a great hiding spot for the Easter basket. But we had a dining room table, and it wasn't a wood table. It was like a patio table that you would have outside. It had a glass top. It was wrought iron, and that's what we always had for our dining room table. And it would have a tablecloth over it that hung down. And, honestly, we never sat at the dining room table. I don't know if you all are like this. We always sat at the breakfast bar. That's as a family where we would eat and, do everything is there at the breakfast bar. So, anyhow, I'm off on a tangent here. Um, the tablecloth would come down over the table, and my dad pulled out all the chairs and again, duct tape, took his duct tape and taped my brother's Easter basket handle to the bottom of the table, like underneath the table to the glass. And then he put the tablecloth back down. My brother looked for that basket. I mean, he hunted and hunted and hunted, and that one was another really hard one for him to find. I remember that. I think he got upset with that one too. It sounds like my brother was a little crybaby. He's really not. He's kind of a home builder. He's my brother is amazing, but he was little, and you get frustrated when you can't find your Easter basket because the festivities cannot begin until you have your Easter basket. You all know how it is. So those are some of our Easter basket stories. Now, we always would have the eggs hidden at the lake. And so as we got older, my brother has kids. And so then, of course, we would be dyeing Easter eggs at the lake. And then, of course, the Easter bunny would come and he would hide those eggs overnight around the camp. Okay. So we were at the lake camping, And hey, Jennifer. Jennifer said I've been sick and starting to feel better. We have missed seeing you, Jennifer. I hope you are on the mend. Being sick is no fun. You all know I was sick there for a little bit. I'm making hook minders today, Jennifer. So, not crocheting, a little different of a day, but I really need these hook minders to tell me what my stitches are that I'm doing, or what my hook is that I'm working with. Let's go back to the box here. Here's some more big letters that I've got. These are other big letters too. Let's pull these out. Here's some little round medallions. Let's grab all these up. Look at these big butterflies. Aren't they pretty? Let's bring those too. Here's some more of the sparkly butterflies. I don't know. I have an assortment of stuff, right? So anyhow, we would dye our Easter eggs there at the lake. We would hard boil them at home. And then we would bring the eggs with us, and the Easter Bunny would come overnight, and he would hide the eggs around camp. So after we found our Easter basket, then we would go on our Easter egg hunt. And they were in trees and under, beside rocks and all over the place, all throughout camp, on top of lawn chairs, in the boat, on top of the boat motor, in between the fishing poles, you named it. These Easter eggs were all over the place. And so, anyhow, we'd go on our little Easter egg hunt. Well, as we got older, I would help my brother with it overnight. We'd have our little refreshing beverages, that you do at the lake, and then the kids would go to sleep, and of course, then we would, um, go on our Easter egg hiding. Well, my dad, he had this dog. Her name was Belle. She was a golden lab. And so one night, my brother and I and his wife were out there having our refreshing beverages. We hide. I think she had like 3 or 4 dozen eggs. I thought to myself, what the heck are we going to do with all these eggs, right? Here's a little G hook minder with a little flower. Every one is unique and different, right? And so anyhow, we go out and we're hiding all these eggs, and it took us forever. It took us forever. And so anyhow, the kids get up the next morning. Well, first my dad got up. My dad, he had his RV. My brother had his RV, and we had ours. We all camped there together. We camped. If you're familiar with Arizona and you're into camping and fishing and stuff, we used to camp at Alamo Lake. I pretty much grew up on that lake. And so anyhow, my dad comes out of his motor. He had I think a fifth wheel. My dad, when he was retired, he would stay at the lake. He would go as soon as it got warm. So, like the first of the year, right after New Year's, he would go down to the lake, and he would have his RV set up down there, and he would hold down the fort, so to speak. And then my brother and I, we would set up our rigs, but we were working. And so, what we would do is we would, hang on, I got to find something cool to put on this. Let's open up these. Yeah. We would leave our motorhomes there, and after work on Friday, we would drive to the lake. Now, going to the lake for me, the lake was like 3 hours away. I think for my brother, it was only like, what, 2.5 hours maybe? But we would drive to the lake, and our motorhomes and stuff would already be set up down there. So it worked perfectly. We'd get in late after work, and we would, hop into bed. And then the next morning we would be there at the lake ready to go. So anyhow, that's how come my dad was always down there. That's just kind of how he did his retirement. So anyhow, my dad gets up the next morning. Us kids are all asleep because we'd had refreshing beverages the night before. You know what I mean? And so anyhow, he looks out, and he always had this artificial turf in front of his motorhome. You guys know what I mean? The green stuff. And he would roll that out, and he'd have his lawn chairs on it. He had a big old swatch of grass out there in front of his rig. And it was always a very comfortable sight. So he looks over, and there is this huge pile of eggs, Easter eggs, over on his turf there at his camp. Now, these, keep in mind, are all of the eggs that my brother and his wife and I had spent all night hiding. All of a sudden, they're no longer down on the beach, all hidden. They are in my dad's camp on the turf. His dog, he called her Belle Dog. Her name was Belle. She was a golden lab. She knew those objects were not supposed to be on the beach. She didn't eat them or anything. She went around camp after we had put those out all night. She gathered back up the Easter eggs and brought them back up to my dad's camp because we think she was, they shouldn't have been there. So anyhow, it's that was definitely an Easter to remember is when old Bell Dog gathered up all the Easter eggs and brought them back to camp. My brother was like, "What the heck?" So the kids weren't up yet, and so then my brother and I, it was early in the morning that we discovered. So then him and I are, his wife was still asleep. We are out there scrambling, trying to get all this whole pile of eggs hid back around the beach for when the kids got up. That was an Easter again. I will never ever forget. And boy, old Bell Dog, she was a good old dog. She really was. And my dad really loved that dog. She was always down there. She was like the queen of the camp, I'll tell you. Love the water. Loved the water. She would go swimming every chance she could get. Look at this pretty purple one. I got to have that in my life. I got to have this as one of my little hook minders. I got to find another hook size that I use. I buried them all with the butterflies. Let's dig in my little box here, see what we can find. Wow, look at that one. I like the butterflies. I got most of this stuff off Amazon, guys. I put it all on the link tree. If you see something that you want to get, you could find it on the link tree. But most of all this came from Walmart or Amazon. I'm fancy that way. They do have like jewelry stores and stuff um, where you can buy stuff like this. But today I'm making hook minders. I know it's kind of weird. I'm not crocheting, but this needs to get done in my life so I know what hooks I am using for my projects. So here's a J. So anyhow, we're having story time and making hook minders. But basically, if you're just coming on, what I'm doing is I'm making these little charms. Okay. So when you have your crochet project, if you're using a size J hook and you put your project to the side and you go on to something else and you come back to it a year later and you want to know what you clip one of these little dudes on your project and then it tells me, April, you were using a size J hook. It's been a year, you don't remember, but you were so smart and organized that you got your project all together. So that's what I'm making. And I'm making lots of different ones. Whatever my heart desires here this morning is kind of what I'm doing. We've made a whole little 10 of these different hook minders. Some have beads, little flowers, different styles, different letters, different styles of letters, whatever I had kind of around. So here's some little round medallion ones. These little plastic ones, you can find these in the kids section, the kids jewelry section at Walmart, with the little letters. So if you don't want to make your own hook minders, you can, oh, Hannah says a year later. Wow. Okay. Calling me out, April. Uh, Hannah, dude, there are projects in my closet that are like 10 years old. Okay. I am kind of bad. So let's see. Mrs. Melody said, I have 3 yellow labs. Our youngest loves eggs. If I leave my fresh eggs, he will eat them whole. My dog that passed, he used to love eggs. And he would try to get them out of the coop and stuff. And if he ate too many of them, then he would get sick. But he loved raw eggs. He would just help himself. His name was Chip. We had Tater and Chip. But I I don't know. Easter is always such a, in addition, if you're, religious and celebrate, in addition to that, there's always a lot of fun, kind of family traditions that go along, I think, with that time of year. And so I have a lot of fond memories of family time and fishing, and fishing was always really good around Easter, especially later in the year like this. Now, if it was spring, like in March, the fishing wasn't as good, but boy, April fishing at the lake. Yeah, good times, good fishing, fish fry. My dad would cook up a mean fish fry right there in camp. He had his little propane, uh, little grill setup thing, and he'd fry up fish and tater tots. And man, we'd really just have a feast there at the lake. Oh, look at the pretty blue. That blue is really pretty, huh? Okay, I need a hook size. What do I got here? I don't use all the letters. I only use, oops, I dropped my little butterfly. I might have to open another package of hooks. I don't use F very often. What is your guys's? Oh, I use K sometimes. Y'all use K hook? I use K sometimes. Where'd my little butterfly go? Okay, so here we go. Butterfly K. I want to do a little dangle on this one too. Let's go all out on this one. Let me set this to the side. Let me get a little head pin because the blue is so pretty. 5 or 4 or 5.5 mostly. My favorite is a 5 millimeter H. Yeah, for sure. I use I use I use a lot of G for my baby blanket. And then I use I9 a lot for my red heart, and H. That so G, H, I, J, and sometimes K. I don't use bulky yarn very much, but sometimes I will. Oh, did you see that? I lost all my stitch minders again. I got the spills here in my lap. Like I said before, I don't have my tummy roll is intruding on my lap space. Y'all got that problem? The tummy roll intruding on the lap space? That happens sometimes, right? What is that you start beating on? This is called a head pin. It's this one I like. I like the ones that have the little round knobs here at the bottom. They help to keep your beads on. So you slide your beads on there, and then I just make little tiny embellishments, whatever I'm kind of feeling like. I just stack up my beads. And then what I do is I use my round nose pliers. You can get these at Walmart. If you have a jewelry store, you can get them. But I put links to some. You can get them off Amazon. But I can do all of my jewelry type stuff with this plier alone if I'm in a pinch. And then what I do, the reason why you like this round, see how this is straight right here? I have to make a little loop in this. So I hold it with my round nose pliers at the very end, and then I give it a little twirl, and I make this little loop here. Now, when you first do it, see how it leans to that side? What you have to do is kind of straighten them back out, pull it back out straight, and see how it's kind of open. I know this is really hard to see, um, but you kind of have to close this down. You don't want this big space here. So squish this up. This one's a little small because of the size of my beads that I had, but I'm trying to make it work. And my eyes, I used to do this without any glasses. Now I have to have my readers, and I swear I still can't see. It's hard for me because my tablet, where you guys are commenting, it's over here. And if I use like a 2 millimeter, or is it millimeter, for my reading glasses, then I can't see my tablet screen. So it's kind of a thing. I have to find a happy medium, but it makes it really hard to see these tiny little loops I'm trying to make. Normally I would use bigger glasses, but then I wouldn't be able to see the comments. So I'm just trying to make do here. Some of my loops aren't very pretty this morning, and it's because I can't see. So anyhow, you close up your little loop. Then I'm just doing a little accent here on my butterfly. So I have this is what you call a jump ring. Okay, this little ring right here. So I open my jump ring up. When the jump rings come, they are closed like this. Okay. And they have a little split in them. But what I do is I hold it with my pliers on one side and I pull it open to the side like this. You don't want to pull it this way. They're not designed to do that. It'll mess them up. So you open it to the side and then you slide your ingredients onto your jump ring. So here's my little butterfly. Here's my K hook size. And you can do this, you can put this little charm wherever you want, however you want, whether you want it on the front or maybe it might look better if it was on the back. Take this off, put the little bead charm on the back with my lobster clasp, and then I close it back up. So you just push it back together. And this way, your little jump ring will stay together. So here's my little K stitch marker. So if I'm using a project with a K hook, and as soon as I start the project, ideally, I clip this onto my project, right? I'm not using a K for this, but you clip it onto your blanket. And then when you come back to your work and you can't remember, you would need to come back. You would have it when you come back. Shailene says, is that not too heavy for yarn? I think it depends on the yarn. K yarn is usually a bulky weight. So that's why I thought that might be better. But this isn't too heavy. You definitely don't want it to be like pulling on your stitches. But you can kind of see there, it's not pulling too bad. But I wouldn't go much bigger than that or much heavier than that. So anyhow, what are all of your guys's? Do you have Easter traditions? Like, like I'm talking about my family traditions. Do you have stuff that you do as a family? Um, we used to sometimes have a Easter egg hunt there at the church in Prescott too. I remember doing that as a kid. Um, Nowadays, I think you can like go see the Easter bunny, but I don't remember them having like a stuffed Easter bunny when I was a kid. Like you go and sit on Santa's lap. I don't remember there being um, something like that when I was a kid, but I could be wrong. I know nowadays they have that where the you can take your kids or grandkids and go get pictures with the Easter bunny. I don't know. Is Mom Wheeler still here? Mom, did we used to is it just me I'm not remembering that? Maybe we just didn't do it. I don't know. I really don't remember ever going and seeing the Easter bunny at the time that the Easter bunny was it was Easter time. I really don't remember doing that, but I could be totally wrong. Um I remember sometimes we would go and see Santa, but we lived really far out of town. We were kind of we're out in the sticks, so to speak. And I sometimes we wouldn't go to town because going to town was kind of a ways away. It wasn't like you just hopped in the car. I think going to town was like, I don't know, 35 minutes or something. We lived out in the forest, in so our life was, I don't know, maybe a little different. But I do think too, a lot of times it's because we were at the lake. We were at the lake during the time that the Easter Bunny was in town, but I really don't remember ever going and like seeing the Easter Bunny. But maybe there was one at the church at one time. I really don't recall. Isn't that crazy? It's crazy how you get older and your mind kind of forgets some things. So this is called an eye pin. When they have a loop on the bottom like this, these little ones, these are called eye pins, and they're a little different, but they still hold on the beads, but they've got this little loop at the bottom. And when you have that little loop, like if you're making like earrings or something, um, you can add little embellishments here or little dangles. I saw this cute little star and I thought, let's see if it'll fit on there. It might not fit. I might have to get a jump ring. Let me get a jump ring. rather than mess that up. Now your jump rings are different sizes. Okay. So for around my lobster claw, I've been using a size 8 hook. But for this, I'm going to use a smaller, I'm going to try to anyhow if I can see the darn thing. They're so tiny. So again, at the bottom of my embellishment here, I'm going to put a jump ring. Then I'm going to add my star and close that back up. So your jump ring is what allows you to connect little things. So, y'all have had like dangly earrings before, and right? So that's how you would attach if you want something to dangle. And now let's open this up. Slide on our little embellishment. Where do my little jump rings or my, we need some of these. We need one of these lobster clasp. That's hard to say. I really like this size. I don't know what size they are. I put links on the link tree. But I like these big ones like this. They make it easier for my hands to hold on to. Okay, now we need our little letter. Let's open this bag up. I'm not trying not to get my stuff all mixed up. Look at this little case. Let's dump out the ingredients of this and use this. Da, 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 da. Oh, I dropped it. Okay, let's try again. The bad part about these letters is you can't just buy the ones that you need. You have to buy the full alphabet. You know what I mean? And some of these you're not going to use. That's why sometimes it's easier just to buy them from somebody who makes them. What do I have in here? Oh, maybe I had already used some of these. I don't see any letters that I use. I must have already used that one. Let me find some more. Here's some more letters. Let's open these. I used to sell these things in my glitter shop. Yeah, I used to do jewelry too. I don't want to do jewelry anymore, but for something like this, I don't mind. Here's a G. I use G a lot, a lot, a lot, a lot, a lot. Okay, so I've got my little lobster claw, my little charm, and now we'll add the letter G, close up our hook minder. There we go. You could also put the G down here at the bottom if you wanted it to dangle. There's no rhyme or reason. You could add multiple ones of these if you wanted. I just wouldn't get them too heavy. So be careful you don't get them too heavy. All right. Lots and lots of possibilities. Oh, here's an H. I use H a lot. So let's use that one. I kind of like these butterflies. Let's open these butterflies up and just make one real simple. I got a big mess in my lap, guys. I know it's kind of a different day. When I feel like I've got enough, I can switch over to my crochet. I can't figure out where this package is sealed. They did such a fabulous job on it. I can't get it open. Oh, goodness. Let's try to, we'll snip this off, see if they'll, did that work? No. Oh my gosh. It really doesn't want me to have these butterflies. I really want one of these butterflies. These butterflies, oh, I broke it. Dang it. I'm going to have to get my little glue out and fix it. Well, maybe now I can actually get into the package, though. Maybe what I need to do is cut it down the side. Let's try this. Duh, April. Duh, right? My concern with these guys is these little rhinestones. I want to make sure, I'm not sure, they might grab on to my yarn. So that is one thing I am concerned about with the rhinestones. Now, these bigger rhinestones, they're pretty smooth. I don't think they're going to grab onto my yarn, but these right here, they may. So that could be a issue. that I need to keep an eye on. So definitely be careful with what, little embellishments you're choosing. Just because you don't want something that's going to damage your crochet after you have spent all that time, um, you know, spent on your project. You don't want something like this to pull the yarn and create a little pull. That would not be fun at all. Oh, I hear little diesels outside whining. I don't even know what time it is. What time is it, guys? I don't know how long I've been making these. Time flies when I uh, those butterflies would be good on a knot slayer. They would, but the problem is they're not really a bead. They're just they're flat on the back, and so there's no way that I know. Now maybe Karen would. She's a genius at this stuff. You'd have to somehow glue this to the top of the knot slayer, and so that's why I'm like, I don't know if that would work, but I'm just going to make a very simple one with this. So an H with my little butterfly. I figured they would work for my purposes because even though they didn't have a ring per se, this is open right here. So I could have attached, let's try that, attach it here in the wing, or I thought I could attach it right here where this antenna is, like right through here would also work. So when I was purchasing them, I was kind of trying to be mindful of that. I should have moved the H. Now I got to redo this. Hang on. I need my H to show from the front of it. Otherwise, what's the point? Where's the ring? Where's the where's the split? Boy, I'm having a hard time seeing. I didn't know it was going to be a thing, but it is. My old eyes. Um, the doctor, when I went and had my eyes checked last month, he's like, "Now, are you experienced any problems reading?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm 50. I've been wearing readers for a while now, especially with my crochet." Silly doctor. I swear, when I turned 40, all of a sudden it was like I couldn't really. I had a harder time seeing. Now I put the H on upside down. Okay, I give up. I'm done. Whatever, it works. They don't have to be perfect, right? Where there's a will, there's a way. There's Miss Karen penned, guys. If you don't want to go through this making your own, this is the gal right here on TikTok to follow. I put on YouTube also this morning, I put a link to Karen's Etsy. She said I could refer her out. So y'all, if you don't want to get the supplies and make all this and do this yourself, this is the friend. Give Karen a follow. Look on the link tree for her Etsy shop. And she definitely is a great resource for these because let's face it, a lot of people don't want to make their own. But if you do, I'm kind of showing you some of the ways that I do these things. I used to do this a lot of years ago. But all you do is get your little letters, and this is why some of these stitch markers are are, are hook minders are expensive because okay, you buy this whole package of alphabet letters, right? When was the last time y'all used a size V hook? Did anybody ever use a V hook? No. When was the last time anybody used a Y hook? I've never used a Y hook. So you buy this kit of letters, which is what you have to do, but there's only a few of them that you're going to use. Here's a G. So that's why this stuff is kind of expensive to make, is because you buy, all the letters. That's how you have to buy them. And, or you can buy like these little charms, right? I got this whole package of charms. Here's a little butterfly. We'll put him on here. And then my little lobster class. So you end up with a lot of components that you don't need, right? And so that's why sometimes it's easier just to buy from the professionals. Let them create something beautiful for you. But you know, they can be very fancy or very simple. Here's a G with a little butterfly. You know, this is gonna a lot of my G projects, guys, are for baby blankets because it's a smaller hook, right? So I want something very dainty and light. I don't want this to be too heavy to pull down on your work. So, for example, if I'm using a 3 weight yarn, I don't want this big butterfly, thing on my project. This is a K size. K is more for like a bulky weight yarn versus a baby blanket, right? You want something tiny and delicate. That way it doesn't pull on your yarn. You don't want to wreck your project with this. Okay, so that's the concept behind why I would do something really small versus with a bulky weight yarn. You can kind of get away with a bigger embellishment. So anyhow, Desert Life, I'm making hook minders. So what happens to me is, y'all know I have a ton of projects. I usually have like 20 works in progress. Okay. That's not an exaggeration. That probably is realistically right now what I have. What I do is I'm always constantly alternating between these projects, right? Now, honestly, if I wasn't on the live every day, I probably wouldn't have so many works going, okay? But I like to change it up. It's really hard for me to come on and talk about the same thing day after day after day after day. It's really boring to me. So every day I like to talk about something different. And because I do that, I'm moving between these projects. So a lot of times, what I'll do is I will just leave my crochet hook with my project, right? I'll just tuck it in to my work like this. So that way, when I come back, voila, there is my hook that I'm using for the project. But when you have so many works, you can't necessarily leave your hook with every project. And sometimes you don't want to bend up your work like that. So what you do is you use what are called hook minders. Okay, so you use a little lobster clasp like you would have for a necklace. These are bigger ones. I got these off Amazon. And then I'm just adding some bead charms, but you can see I'm adding the letters of the size hook that I'm using. So if you go by millimeters, right? If you always are using a 5 millimeter hook, you would need to use something else to mark that rather than a letter. But for me, I use letters for my hook. I always am using an I9, an H8. So, a G6. I can mark my project with a G letter. And then when I come back to it, I know what it is. So that's what we're doing today is I've just been sitting here rambling talking about Easter and making different little hook minders, all different, whatever I have been feeling like. These are little plastic letters you can get at like Walmart. You can get these off Amazon too for like little kids bracelets. Um, all sorts of different stuff. I just kind of did some shopping and brought in some different things. Here's a G. I put a little flower charm at the bottom. Whatever. No, no, just kind of random stuff, whatever I felt like as I was yakking along. There's a little butterfly, that's an H. Here's a G. This is a medallion style. I got those off of Amazon. Now, these butterflies right here, I would caution you what I was mentioning earlier. These have rhinestones here. I'm sure you can see how it's kind of shiny. I'm concerned that this might catch on my yarn. So as it's on the project, I don't want this to like pick up the fibers. The jury is out. I don't know if this is going to be a quote good hook minder. Here's a little teddy bear. Here's a butterfly we did. I like butterflies. I have butterfly tattoos. I've always loved, loved, loved butterflies. It's kind of one of my little things that I do. Sometimes these letters get stuck on your jump ring. Uh, my G is stuck. Get out of there. There we go. A little plastic flower at the bottom. Here's an eye, little heart. So you can see just, whatever. Here's another style letter you could do. If you don't want to do these, there's people who you can buy these from on Etsy. Our friend Karen, you guys see Karen here all the time. You know, she makes these, and that's kind of what her little specialty niche, one of her, I mean, she's a bag of tricks, guys. She's got lots of stuff that she does, but this is one of the things. If you don't want to deal with making these, you can, you know, get with a creator, and they can make them, and they can make them themed if you want certain themes. Here's a G hook, again, very lightweight. I put a little apple at the bottom. Here's a little Pegasus, a J. Anyhow, you get the point of what I'm doing here. I've made all these this morning, just in the time that I've been sitting here talking. And so now what I need to do is I need to go to all my works in progress and try to get these marked. I have a lot of G projects because I have a lot of baby blankets, and baby blankets I use a lot of a 3-weight yarn. And so it's a lot of times I'm using a size G hook. Hey, Stephanie, good morning. Mama C said we saw the butterfly exhibit at the Phoenix Zoo. She had a blast. I love butterflies. In Phoenix, or in Scottsdale, they have the Butterfly Wonderland. That place, I could spend days in there, days and days and days. And Mama Wheeler down in Florida, they have a butterfly garden also. And so I know I haven't been to the one down in Florida, but I love going to the butterfly garden. It's I always try to plant flowers around my place too that are that will attract pollinators, not just butterflies, but you know, bees and everything. Um, I don't know if you can make millimeters instead of letters. I have not done enough research to know, like, if you can buy, instead of, these are all letters, like, can you buy numbers? I don't know. I'm not certain. For me, I always go by letters. I always say J10 or I9. So for me, because I always call my hooks by letters, it's not really a thing. But I got all of these charms. You know, these are really cute little charms you can get. You could, I mean, I think they're made for, like, you know, bracelets or something, but lots of cute little charms. What is that? Oh, that's like a little space. If you want to do a whole space theme, here's a snowflake, starfish. Really, this, I love this little set of charms that I got. Angels watching over me. I had to put that back to see that. Let's see. Made for an angel. Oh, that's cute. It's a little angel. Butterfly. Yeah, I remember taking Ren, Carol. I do remember that. Little guitar. The guitar's cute, huh? Oh, look, a paw. I got to do a paw, right? Don't you think I need to do a paw? Let's make a paw that dangles. Yeah? Let's use one of these. This is called an eye pin. Okay, an eye pin is a little different than a head pin, but it kind of functions the same. So the way that an eye pin works is it has this little loop at the bottom. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to attach my little dog paw to that loop at the bottom. And then along the top here, I'm going to place some beads. I don't know what all I have here. Let's see. That one's kind of cute. So many possibilities. That's too big. See how I don't have enough room up here at the top? That bead does not work. What else do I have here? What are these? Oh, those are pretty purple ones. Hang on, let me move my bead box up so I can see what's in here. Oh, this one's kind of pretty. These are cheap plastic beads, okay? I bought plastic beads because I want to make sure that's too big. I want to make sure they're not too heavy. Okay, you don't want your stitch minders to be too heavy. That would be kind of a bad thing. You don't want them to pull down on your crocheting too much. Okay, so then these are round nose pliers. I could do all of this with just this one pair of pliers, but I grabbed the end of our eye pin. So again, here's our little loop at the bottom. That's where I'm going to attach my charm. Okay. Then up here at the top, I need to put a loop in this. So the way that I do this is I grab the very end of my eye pin and I roll my wrist forward so that it starts to form a loop. Okay. And then I bring it down the rest of the way. Now, as we look at this, do you see how this is leaning off to the side? What you have to do is you put your pliers back through the loop and you twist backwards a little bit. You want this to sit straight. Okay, you want this loop to be straight up and down. And you make sure this is closed enough. You don't want this to come out. Okay, so make sure that you get that little loop closed. Then what you do, let me regroup here. You get what is called a jump ring. Okay, there's two different kinds. There's called split rings and jump rings. You want a jump ring. A jump ring has only one strand of wire that goes all the way around. Okay, when you get your jump ring, it has a little split on one side of it here. Okay, the way that you open these is I hold it with my pliers on one side and my hand on the other. Now, if you're not strong enough, you could have two pairs of pliers as well. And what I'm going to do is I pull my right hand towards me and I push my left hand away from me. And you open that up sideways like this. Okay. Then you can close it back. What that does when you open it side to side like that is it does not wreck the integrity and shape of your ring. Okay. So very, very important as you're learning how to open these jump rings. I'm going to grab a different size that I don't use as much of, a smaller one. What you don't want to do is take your jump ring. I'm gonna mess this one up, and pull it apart like this, side to side. Okay, because what that does is it messes up the shape of your jump ring, and when you go to try to put this back, you're going to have a really hard time realigning this and getting this matched up. Okay, that's trash now. So always open your jump rings side to side. Marcia said, I'm using colors apricot and eggplant for my rectangle virus throw. I loved making the virus prayer shawls as well. I think I'm going to try to make some hook minders. I have lots of projects. Yeah, these are kind of handy. This is overdue. This is an overdue task for me. So, again, open your jump ring, very important, side to side. Okay, don't pull it apart. Then you slide your embellishment on there. And I need to add my lobster claw. I'm going to come back and add my little paw at the bottom, but what I still need is my letters. Where did I put all my letters? Here's the letters. Here's some letters. Let's do an H8. I always do H crocheting, and this popped right out at me. So now I'm going to add my H on here, and I'm going to close this up. So to close it up, again, I hold this one side and I pull this back. Now, if your hands are not strong enough, just get you a second pair of pliers here, and you can close it up that way. Okay, so there's our H. Now, down here at the bottom, sometimes this little I will be big enough that you can open this up and put your charm right on it. Again, the way that I open these up, I don't pull it out, pull it up, okay, like this, and then close it back that way. I already did some earlier, and I know that it's not large enough. So I need a little jump ring. This is just an assorted kit of jump rings that I got, but these are handy to have around. Just if you have, if you wear earrings and necklaces and stuff, sometimes you have to do a little repair. So jump rings are always handy to have. So again, I open it side to side, put that through, and then I add my little charm. Now I'm going to close this back up. And this looks like I didn't get this quite tight in here. So make sure you get this nice and snug. So here we have our lobster claw. So again, this is what I'm going to use to attach it to the blanket. Make sure you get yourself some bigger ones. Okay. You want to make sure that these are easy to get onto your crochet. And then I have my little bead with my little paw. And then this tells me it's a size H hook that I was using. Pretty darn cute, I think. And that's what I've been doing all morning. Like I said, if you don't want to make these for yourself, um, there's people you can buy these from. Our friend Karen here, she, makes these. But definitely, this is the same way. Sometimes, people will make earrings and stuff. Obviously, they have different earring clasp instead of this, but the same concept would apply if you want to get into, beading and jewelry and that kind of stuff. These little tips that I'm showing you today are the same thing you can apply right to jewelry making. So again, lots of possibilities. Um, if you are making these, you definitely don't want to use something big like this for smaller size um, um, projects. Okay, you don't want it too heavy, too heavy. So anyhow, these I'm just going to attach to my projects and leave it. I'll leave it on my work, and that way it will tell me what size hook I'm using. So this project I'm doing right now, I'm using a size I9 hook. I would just take and clip it to my project. This is the very center, little teddy bear. It tells me it's an I hook. And that way, when I come back and revisit this project, I would know what it is. So that is what I am doing today. And I'm going to put this stuff kind of away. I want to show you all my project that we were working on yesterday so you can kind of see how I came along on the blanket yesterday. I worked on it some last night, and you guys can kind of get an idea of how it's working up. Oops, there's a stitch minder in there. Little Diesel is crying outside. He wants to come in. He's like, Mom, let me in. You're so mean. Get all my beads picked up here. Okay, let's see. I need my screw top. Let's not get these. I can see myself spilling these all over the place. That's why I love, sometimes they come with these little boxes, and these are very handy for storing stuff in. And then I save my packaging. This is a package of beads that I had. I just, this way I can put my stitch minders in here and hang on to them that way. Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to bump y'all. There's a little pink bead. And then these little boxes are nice too, if you want to sort your different colors out. But you can see I have lots of different possibilities in there. So let me just close these all back up and get them into my container here. Some of these are still sealed in packages. Some of my stuff got a little mixed up today, but I'll sort through and get it sorted back out. It's hard on the live because I only have so much camera space, so you got to make do with whatever you've got. But I did put links on the link tree, guys, if you see stuff that you want to do. There is a link to Karen's Etsy on the link tree as well. Okay. So, guys, if you don't want to make this stuff and you just want to buy, I really recommend Karen. She does beautiful work. She's one of our friends here that's very supportive of me and all of our other friends here. So, definitely, if you would like to, just buy something like this, if you think that they would be handy with your project. I did put on the link tree her Etsy. It won't let us pin it, I don't think. Sometimes it's kind of weird that way. A lot of this stuff, Desert Light, I got off Etsy, or not Etsy, off Amazon. Or I got some stuff from Walmart. Walmart has a really big jewelry beading section, believe it or not. And so you could just walk, when you're there at Walmart picking up groceries, you can buy a lot of this stuff. Even this tool set, mine was packed away still with all my jewelry stuff, and I uh, I just picked up another one, and it was very reasonably priced. I think it was on sale for like $8. There's Karen right there, guys. If you don't want to deal with making something like this, they are very helpful if you have a lot of different works in progress. I think that for me, I know they're going to be very useful, and I should have made these like, I don't know, 10 years ago or something. But better late than never, as they say, right? Put all my little charms back in. All these little charms I got off Amazon also. I think I put a link to these on the link tree also. I put it in my Amazon store so you guys can see if there's something there that you are looking for. But I liked this little toolkit that I got from, I actually got this on Walmart, had it on clearance, this little toolkit, because it came with a variety of tools, which I thought was kind of helpful just to have them. Mine were packed away with all my other jewelry business stuff from years ago, but this was a four-piece kit, and I swear it was only like $8 when I got it. I got it on clearance or something, so I don't know if they still have it, but it gave me all of the tools that I need. It gives you your round nose, your regular pliers, your nippers, and then these are bent, and I've honestly never even used those. Hannah said she posted a link on the Discord. Thank you so much for doing that, Hannah. I appreciate that. Y'all are amazing. Oh, there's a random head pin. So here is the blanket that I was working on yesterday on the live. If you guys want to see how this is shaping up, I got my stitch marker here pinned to the back of it. I went all the way through. So this is how far I got last night, but you can see it starting to change into the teal color, and you can really start to see the peacock tails coming through now. Isn't that cool? So again, let me repin my stitch marker here now that I've got my blanket open. Um, so here's their corners with our little owl eyes and beak. Pretty cool, right? Really coming together. So another full week here. But I hope you guys all have a wonderful Easter. I know not everybody celebrates, but if you do, I hope you have a wonderful Easter. Thank you guys all so much for being with me this week. I'm sure we'll have plenty of new and exciting projects next week. What those are, I can't tell you. I don't know. I have to do some thinking this weekend and see if I can figure out what we're going to be working on. I do have some projects and stuff I need to get wrapped up. So we might need to revisit some projects. But yeah, this is really turning out nice. I'm really liking this. I'll probably work on this tomorrow morning before work, and really, really pretty, huh? I like it. I like it a lot. Once you see it kind of coming together with the different colors, how that morphs into that teal, I really like it. So, anyhow, guys, I'm going to sign off and get my rear to the office so I can get to work. But I hope everybody has a fabulous rest of your week. Happy Easter, and I will see you all next week. Bye for now.